right, so this is how to draw an interaction diagram. Okay, and we won't draw these all the time because the problems will get too complicated, but this is a really good practice to draw these, especially for conceptual questions, okay? All right, so you need to look and see what's interacting. Okay, and the first thing, everything that's touching is interacting, okay? Which means if it's not touching, it's not interacting, all right? The only thing we're going to deal with that that interacts without touching is gravity, okay? There are some other ones, electromagnetic, forces within the nucleus, but we don't care about those in this class, okay? But I put a little video for you here about, some other ones, those other 4 fundamental forces that they say, field forces, okay? All right, so all we're going to do when we draw this diagram, okay, is you're just going to draw the people, the things, okay? So I'm going to have the green guy, the red guy, the trapeze, the stand, which I'll count as, both of those kind of like vertical things, and then the ground and the earth, okay? All right, so this is going to be all the objects that are going to be in the system, right? So I'm going to just be looking at this whole entire thing, including the earth, all right? And we're just looking to see who is touching, okay? So trapeze is touching the red guy. The red guy is touching the green guy, okay? The trapeze is touching the stand. The stand is touching the ground, okay? Notice that the trapeze is not touching the green guy, and none of them are touching the ground, okay? So only things that touch, okay? And then everybody's going to get an interaction with the earth, okay? And ground and earth, I don't know, that's kind of dumb. We're never going to use that, but I guess technically you could, depending on, if you have it or not, okay? All right, so we want to label it with the kinds of interactions, okay? So these were all gravity. All the ones that interact with the earth are gravity, so that's going to get a capital G, okay? And then if it's pushing, then we're going to call that a normal force, all right? If it's pulling, we're going to call that tension force, okay? And if there's any kind of shearing or rubbing back and forth, we're going to call that a friction force or a friction interaction, okay? And there's going to be a lot more about friction next week, so right now let's just keep it simple, okay? All right, so the trapeze and the red guy, since he's hanging, I'd probably call that more of a tension. The red guy hangs from the green guy, that's a tension. The trapeze hangs from the stand, that's a tension. And then the stand is resting on the ground, so that would be a normal force, right? The stand would be pushing into the ground. Okay, so this is how you'd make an interaction diagram. Okay, and let's do another one for this guy pushing the cart. Okay, so we're going to have the earth, the ground, the man, the cart, and I guess that block we'll call separate from the cart. Sometimes you might call the cart and the block all the same thing. It just kind of depends on the analysis. We'll get into that soon. Okay, all right, so we have all of these objects. All right. So let's see. So the man is pushing the cart, and he's pushing it, so that I'm going to call a normal. Okay, the cart and the block, right? The block is resting kind of on the surface of the cart, so I'm going to call that a normal. All right, the man is not touching the block, okay, so he doesn't get one. The block is not touching the ground, so he doesn't get one, but the cart is touching the ground, okay? And I should have made the earth a little lower. And the man is touching the ground. Let's make earth down here so we have some space, okay? Right? And the man is touching the ground. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw 2 interactions for those, okay, because we're going to have both a friction, right, because it's like a sideways motion, and a normal force, which is an up and down motion, okay? And, there's a lot of debate. These are sort of kind of very related and kind of maybe even the same interaction. Okay, we're just going to kind of label them separately, I think, is the way I want to do it, okay? So then I got to put the man in the earth, the block in the earth, the cart in the earth, okay? And again, if you want to put the ground in the earth, but just so you know that the ground or the surface is not the same thing as the earth, okay? All right, so that, and block and cart, already did that one. Normal. All right, and I think that is everybody. So for now, if it's something that's moving like sideways, we'll put friction also. We'll get into that more next week. All right, that is how to draw an interaction diagram.